The White House just banned an AI system from Anthropic, and all it took was one critical vulnerability that Amazon discovered. You'd think a company as careful about safety as Anthropic would have caught this themselves, but they didn't. Here's what happened. Amazon's security researchers found a way to completely bypass Fable's safety guardrails using a technique called prompt injection. This isn't some obscure hack that only a PhD could pull off. It's a method that uses hidden instructions buried inside normal-looking text to trick the AI into ignoring its own rules. Think of it like a secret password hidden in a love letter. The recipient can read the love letter normally, but someone in the know sees the hidden message and knows what the real instructions are. Once Amazon found this vulnerability, they did the responsible thing and reported it. But when the White House saw how serious the flaw was, they didn't just ask Anthropic to patch it. They outright banned the entire system until Anthropic can prove it's been fundamentally redesigned from the ground up. And that's the moment everything changed in how the government thinks about AI oversight. This is the first time a system from a major AI safety lab got hit with a federal-level ban, and it's sending shockwaves through the entire industry. Before we dive into what Amazon found, you need to understand who these players are. Anthropic is one of the world's leading AI safety companies. Founded in 2021 by former members of OpenAI, they've built a reputation on creating AI systems that are harder to manipulate than their competitors' systems. Fable was their latest breakthrough. It's an AI model designed specifically to understand and respond to extremely complex, multi-layered text inputs, the kind of requests that most AI systems struggle with. The whole idea behind Fable was that by making the AI smarter at understanding nuance, it could be safer. A system that truly understands what you're asking for can't accidentally do the wrong thing. And Anthropic had spent months hardening Fable against known attack vectors. They'd tested it, probed it, tried to break it themselves. But Amazon, a company that uses AI systems at massive scale across its own operations, runs its own security research team. These aren't people trying to find bugs to embarrass competitors. These are security specialists whose entire job is to make sure the technology Amazon relies on won't backfire later. So when Amazon's researchers got access to Fable to evaluate it for potential use, they did what they always do. They tested it against their internal security frameworks. And that's when they found something Anthropic's team had completely missed. Here's where it gets interesting. The vulnerability Amazon found is called a prompt injection attack, and it's been a known threat in AI security for years, but nobody had figured out how to use it on a system as sophisticated as Fable. Here's how it works. Imagine you're texting with an AI assistant, and your prompt, your instruction to the AI, is supposed to stay within a carefully defined sandbox. The AI's rules say, answer questions about public information only, and never perform financial transactions. But a prompt injection attack is essentially a jailbreak that hides a second set of instructions inside the first one. You sneak new rules past the AI by disguising them as part of the normal conversation. For months, Anthropic had assumed Fable was immune to this because they'd built in what's called semantic boundary detection. That means the system is supposed to recognize when it's being asked to violate its core rules and push back. But Amazon's researchers discovered a technique that bypasses those boundaries almost entirely. By structuring text in a very specific way, using nested layers of context and misdirection, they could trick Fable into ignoring its own safety guardrails. And worse, once the guardrail was disabled, Fable would follow the injected instructions without any resistance. We are talking about potentially using a hijacked Fable instance to generate misinformation at scale, or to access information the system was explicitly designed to protect. Amazon reported this directly to Anthropic and to the feds. But here's what most coverage gets wrong. Let's make this concrete with a real-world scenario. Imagine Fable is being used by a government agency to process sensitive climate data, information that's classified and shouldn't leave the agency's systems. A bad actor could submit a prompt that looks like a normal question about climate trends, but hidden inside that prompt is a carefully crafted injection attack. The AI responds normally at first, but partway through, the hidden instructions activate. Instead of staying within the agency's system, Fable starts returning classified information. The attack works because Fable can't distinguish between the legitimate question and the hidden jailbreak buried beneath it. Here's another scenario. Imagine Fable is integrated into a financial institution's customer service system. A hacker could craft a prompt injection that tricks Fable into bypassing fraud detection protocols that could theoretically allow them to authorize transactions that should be blocked, or consider a healthcare setting where Fable has access to patient records. A malicious prompt injection could potentially expose protected health information to unauthorized parties. Now, we don't know for certain that any of these attacks were successfully deployed in the wild. Amazon found the vulnerability in testing, not in active systems. But that's exactly why the White House moved so fast. The threat wasn't theoretical anymore. This is where it gets complicated. So how does this stack up against other AI security breaches we've seen? Well, earlier this year there was a major incident with an open-source model where someone demonstrated a way to extract its training data that got attention, but it was more of an academic proof of concept. Then there was the supply chain attack on a popular AI library where malicious code got snuck into an update. That was serious, but it affected developers, not end users directly. But the Fable vulnerability is different because it's not a bug in the code. It's a fundamental limitation in how the AI understands and processes instructions. That means every instance of Fable is potentially vulnerable, and there's no simple software patch that fixes it. You can't just push an update and make it go away. This is why the White House response was so severe. They didn't just ask Anthropic to fix it. They banned the entire system until Anthropic can prove it's been fundamentally redesigned. That's a level of regulatory action we haven't really seen before in the AI space. Other companies have had vulnerabilities, but this is the first time a system created by a major AI lab got federal-level banned outright. And that precedent is going to ripple through the entire industry. But here's what the headlines aren't telling you. So what does this actually mean for the future of AI development? Well, the immediate implication is clear. AI companies can't just release systems and hope nobody finds the vulnerabilities. The bar for government approval just went up dramatically. If you're building an AI system that might get used in sensitive government applications, you now need to expect that federal regulators will demand proof that you've defended against prompt injection attacks. But there's a deeper implication here too. For years, the AI industry has operated on the assumption that the government would be hands-off, that AI companies could self-regulate. The Fable ban is the government saying, no, that era is over. From now on, major AI systems are going to get scrutinized hard. And here's the thing that really matters for the future. This sets a precedent. The next time a vulnerability is discovered, regulators now have a playbook. They know they can ban a system. They know they can force a redesign. And that's going to change how AI companies approach security from day one. Anthropic built Fable with genuine safety in mind. They hired some of the world's smartest safety researchers. But it wasn't enough. That's going to make every other AI company realize that even best efforts can fall short. The stakes just got higher for everyone. And this is where things get surprising. So if you're an AI developer, or if you work at a company using Anthropic systems, what do you do right now? First, stop using Fable immediately if you're processing sensitive data. That's not negotiable. The government's already made that decision for the federal agencies, and you should take that seriously. Second, do an audit of any other AI systems you depend on. Don't just assume they are safe, because they are from reputable companies. Prompt injection attacks aren't unique to Fable. They're a general class of vulnerability that affects how most language models process instructions. Ask your vendors if they've been tested against prompt injection. Ask them what their mitigation strategies are. Make them prove it. Third, if you're developing AI systems, this is your wake-up call to invest heavily in adversarial testing. Don't just test what the system does when everything goes normally. Test what it does when someone's actively trying to break it. Hire security researchers who specialize in AI. Run bug bounty programs. Make it easy for people like Amazon's team to find flaws before they become federal incidents. Fourth, stay informed about regulatory changes. This Fable ban won't be the last one. The government's now actively monitoring AI security, and more rules are coming. The companies that adapt fastest will have a competitive advantage. They'll be seen as trustworthy. The ones that drag their feet will face greater scrutiny. And this is what nobody predicted. Here's what all this means for you and why you should care about this story, even if you never use Anthropic systems. AI is increasingly integrated into critical infrastructure, your bank, your healthcare provider, government agencies, military systems. If those systems are vulnerable to something like a prompt injection attack, the ripple effects could be enormous. A compromised AI powering medical recommendations could give you wrong treatment advice. A hijacked AI in your bank's fraud detection could cost you money. The Fable story shows us that even the companies trying hardest to get security right can miss something major. And when they do, the consequences are serious enough for the government to step in and ban the whole thing. The silver lining is that Amazon did the right thing by reporting the vulnerability instead of exploiting it. And Anthropic is probably going to use this to rebuild Fable in a way that's even more secure. But this is also a signal to all of us that AI development is entering a new phase. It's no longer the Wild West. Regulators are paying attention. The bar for safety is rising, and companies that can't meet that bar will face serious consequences. Stay aware of how AI systems are being deployed in your daily life. Ask questions about their security, and demand that companies take safety seriously, because in the next decade, your life is going to depend on AI systems that are actually trustworthy. Follow for daily AI news.